Hey Tosha Tribe, if you guys are just tuning in, this is the third video about my trip to Nepal that I just recently came back from. You don't have to watch them in any order. I'm just letting you know that there's three of them in this little like Nepalese series. So I was going to tell you guys about our trip going back to Western Nepal. So after we left Bhutan, we came back to Nepal, and instead of stopping in Kathmandu, we just continued going all the way west to Western Nepal to the area called Bardiya National Park, close to where the Buddha was born. Actually, this is the region where the Buddha was born. For those who follow different religions, Buddha is the enlightened one for Buddhism religion. In Tibet, for instance, the Dalai Lama is their Buddha personified. In Bhutan, they also have one, but I don't remember the name because it was a lot of letters and I don't remember the name. So forgive me, Google it. If it's really that important to you, put it in the comments and I'll find it for you. So anyways, we went out to Western Nepal because I wanted to go do tiger trekking. Living here in Kenya and coming to Kenya since a small kid, I have done a lot of safari. And as an FYI, for you guys who come to Kenya, who want to go to the beach, but you don't do any safari and you've never done a safari, make that make sense to me. Make that make some sense to me, because I just don't understand that at all. I got a girlfriend who's coming like in a week or so with one of her little friends. They ain't never been out here before. They just came from the beach in Belize. And these two are here for 5 days. They're gonna spend 3 days at the beach and 2 days in Nairobi, but you don't do any safari. It's really retarded to me. I'm trying to understand it, but I don't understand it. But whatever, to each his own, right? Anyway, so I wanted to come out here because I really wanted to see the tigers, right? They're a big, glorious cat, solitary. They grow very quickly because they're such solitary animals. And, their habitat is dying out because of people and encroachment and removing of forests and, all that stuff that humans bring along with them as we move and prosper and grow, depending on how that's supposed to look like. So anyways, we went out this time of year because allegedly this is the best time of year to also catch them because of the weather and because it's the dry season, so you should still be able to see them. They were moving into monsoon season. So we went down so imagine we flew from Bhutan to Kathmandu, which took us about an hour. And then from Kathmandu, we flew to another airport that was close to the national park, which took us another hour. Then we got picked up and we did another 2-hour drive into the bush. And it was very exciting because, you really feel like Indiana Jones, you know what I mean? Like, it really scratches that itch and that need for you to feel like you're, traversing unseen lands, and you're a real explorer, in your heyday and nobody's around, but like, you're in a nice air-conditioned car and somebody's driving you there, right? So we got up to this park and it was great. It was like an eco lodge. There's no TVs, there's no Wi-Fi, there's no radio, there's nothing out there. It's literally just you, the birds, and the animals, and like just really lovely rooms, very comfortable rooms. They did have fans, which was good. Either you ate outside for breakfast, we ate outside, and then lunch and dinner. So their main part of their hotel, the reception area, also doubled as their like lounge area as well as their eating area. It's not a large hotel. Like when we were there, we were one of 12 guests and that was it. So it was very small, very intimate. But what was weird about the place, there were no women workers. That I found very weird because I don't think I've really ever been to a hotel where there's no women workers, which also tells me something, right? That maybe these men out in this bush so deep outside can't control themselves if there are women out there, and that for the safety of women, they don't employ women, which, whatever. That tells you some stuff, right? Women, we're always policed. Anyway, so we got out there. It was really lovely. So that evening we went out and we did a really lovely sunset, sitting by the water and just watched the sun come down. And it was just lovely because it was just like all the villagers were out. It was on a Sunday, so everybody was just out with their cows and their buffaloes and just outside. Now, because we're closer to India, here comes all the staring, right? Again, I don't know about you guys, but for me, I get it a lot. I have been touched in a lot of places, not touched like bad touch, but like I've had people come and be like, ooh, are you real? And it's like, yeah, I make a better door than a window. You know what I mean? When we were in China, my God, the number of photos that people took of me and my best friend was freaking nuts. India, same, all of that. So it gets I mean, if it's not something you've never dealt with, it's like, what are you talking about? But for those who have dealt with it and who deal with it constantly, it's really obnoxious. It's just really, really obnoxious. You know what I mean? Anyway, so we were there. The first day was great. Second day, we woke up really, really early and we just hit the bush. And what's nice with this bush, it's very different than being here on this African savanna. It feels like a real forest. And it's interesting because depending on where you're moving in the forest, the topography also changes within the forest. And it's a very dense forest. It's very involved, right? Meaning that it's actually kind of hard to see animals inside of here. It's actually, I would almost say it's harder to see the animals in this forest than it was to see them on savannas, right? Because at least with savannas, they're open and they're flat. So if you peep something, you can like see exactly where it is. But this thing, bro, it's gone. Like there was one day we woke up in the morning, we were on the trail and we were on this little trail and there was a big old Asian rhinoceros right on this trail. And they look different than African rhinoceroses. They're larger in their necks. They've got all these ripples. It almost looks like external gills, but they're not. And then even their body armor is very different. So he was on the road for like, 5 seconds where he saw us, we saw him. And then when I tell you this man did a right turn right into the forest, poof, gone. Within 3 steps, we didn't even see where he went. Even when we drove up to the little area that we walked into, you couldn't even see him. So it was pretty dense. It's really involved. Saw lots of monkeys, lots of deers. Then we went out to a couple of places where the tigers like to cross across the water because tigers do love water a lot and they love to climb. And we sat there for a while just waiting for them to come along. So what's a little interesting is that these guides don't do kind of how in Africa where they talk to one another, right? Meaning that they'll have trekkers who are in the park during the evenings at night when you've left so that in the morning they can start telling all of the guys who are coming in, this is what's over here, this is what's over here, this is what's over here. They don't really do that over here. It's just kind of like you rock up and if there's other people in the park, you'll talk to them as you're going next to them. But it's not like they've got a radio communication system where they could figure out where people are, where the animals are, which to me, it seems a little counterintuitive, but whatever, that's how they do it. And it's also weird because they tag the tigers, right? So it's not like they can't locate them. But anyways, whatever, neither here nor there. I'm just giving you a difference with some of this African safaris and Asian safaris. So anyways, we were inside of there, we waited. Now, like I said, we were much closer to India, so some of the groups were just filled with Indians. And, I'm a half an Indian, I love my people, but sometimes I don't like them. You understand what I'm saying? I love being a half an Indian. I love having our culture, but like sometimes, God. I mean, I guess it's with anything. People just make it horrible, right? So we were like sitting there and we were waiting for the tigers to come. So we're in like a nice quiet spot. I was talking to one of the guys who was in our group because we had 2 South Africans with us in ours, so there's 4 of us in ours. The Indian compis would rock up with like 15. So we were seated there, and imagine I'm talking to the guy in my group, and here is this Indian guy with his camera just literally pointing it at me. Just everywhere I went, just pointing it at me. So I went and I grabbed his phone, and I was like, delete the videos. And he was like, what are you talking about? I said, you've been taking videos of me for a very long time, and I've been watching you do it. Erase them. So he goes in his profile and he erases them. And then I grabbed his phone and then I went into his deleted file and then I permanently deleted them because you could retrieve these deleted files if you don't permanently delete them. And then I cussed him out because I was like, you know what, fam? If you want to just take a photo of me, then just say so. But don't do all of this, right? I did have my hair in braids. I definitely understand the black girl braids because you don't have to do your hair. You are good to go. It don't matter. It is a lifesaver on top of how much you save on bringing all your products and all of your accoutrements. It's like, nope, braids, boom, here we go. So I know a lot of them had not seen black people with braids before. So it's like, okay, fine. Ooh, this is weird. This is curious. But you don't have to be all up in my face taking my videos and stuff. You know what I mean? Even on my plane ride back from Nepal back to Dubai, the girl next to me, she must have taken like 10 sneaky peeks, sneaky pics. And I caught her and I was like, erase everything. And she's like, no, it's just me. I was like, bro, I'm wearing a fluorescent yellow like sweatshirt. I can see myself. Get me off your videos. You know what I mean? That part was like super annoying. But back to our animals, it was very exciting. So we saw a tiger, but we didn't see a tiger. okay? So what do I mean by that? So there was one of these big tigers that was killing all the villagers, right? And it's sad because the tiger wasn't really doing nothing that was non-tiger-like, right? It's like, y'all are in my crib, you guys are all in my territory, I don't like it, back up, I'm gonna kill you. But the game wardens were like, we cannot have a tiger killing villagers. So they captured it and they had put it in an enclosure near the front of the entryway. So it's like we saw the they call him a man-eating tiger. So we saw the man-eating tiger, you know, but we didn't see it in the bush per se. And then you kind of felt bad for the man-eater because it's like all his homeboys were literally on the other side, just out here frolicking and living life until, you know, eventually they're all displaced themselves. So you felt bad for the guy, but we did see one. Fantastic, massive, beautiful hide, beautiful coat. But you just felt bad, you know what I'm saying? Where it was almost kind of like, prison. It looks the same everywhere, right? Nature or man, it's all the same. You locked me up and everybody on the other side is walking around, you know what I mean? But anyways, I will be going back. I'm going to see these tigers. Y'all hear me? I'm going to see these tigers. And then I think what I'm gonna round out that trip is go and see those tigers. And then what I would really like to do is do one of those motorcycle tours where you then go through the pass and you go to Luksa in Tibet. Ooh, wouldn't that be exciting to go through all the mountains? I've been into this whole motorcycle thing lately. I really love it. And that's all I got for y'all for this one. So like, subscribe. If you got any comments, questions, concerns, thoughts, let me know. Hit me up in the comments. Talk to y'all later. Bye.